Hey everyone, welcome to GrayManPrepping. Oh boy, yes, it's time for another edition of Tactical Tuesday, where we talk about tactics, gear, and more. And tonight's going to be a little bit about tactics and gear, because tonight's topic is fabricating parts at home, making your own parts and stuff. Now learning how to, and then after the poop has hit the fan, or it's the end of the world as we know it. How's everybody doing out there? I got a nice surprise that I mentioned there in the comments. I'm in here getting everything set up. All of a sudden, here's tink, 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 and I got the Jack and Jill bathroom right here, and there's a fan right here. What the heck? And all of a sudden, it just started coming down. And I went out and looked outside, and it's sun shining from the one side, dark clouds over us, and it's just raining. And it's supposed to be clear for the next 6 or 7 days without a sign of a cloud in the forecast. Forecasters didn't look out the window like I am. In fact, here, let me show you what's outside that window. If I can catch it here. Well, there's a little bit that way, but if I come back, if I get around the screen there, see how the clouds up there, they're already dissipating, and that's the driveway. You can see the line here where it's dry next to the house because it was blowing from the west towards the east, but everything out there got a bath. So let me center that up. There we go. Let's go up to the comments here and welcome everybody in. Back to the top. All right, so the first one in was CR, followed by Tip Top Girl. And she's fading fast. She took her sleeping pill an hour ago. Then Alicia came in, and then Green Granny 2, Denise. Again, she's in the Des Moines hospital. So everyone, prayers for Denise, please. And let's see, going down here, everyone chit-chatting back and forth there. Wendy at Hardnack Farms came in. She's dealing with a phone call right now, so we'll see whether or not she comes back here. Idaho Garden Girl's in the house. Hey, Steph. And Rex Verse, Wolf Pinky, Rex is here. And Suzanne Gallet is here. And of course, CB at Hugo Homestead. And Phelan Clan Wolf is lurking. Moon over Miami is here. And Kaylin's Drain is in the house. Shadow Scout Sweet is here. Let's see what else we got here. Everyone's still saying hi to everybody. I'm almost down to the bottom here. And I reached the bottom. Okay. So tonight's stuff is a bit of a lesson, to say, of an object lesson of get off the couch, learn a skill. All right, because if whatever it is, whether it's an event that causes SHTF or a major event that causes TEOTWAWKI, there's a difference, on how long it takes the world to recover. And the thing is, just to clarify, SHTF is not a localized event. It affects the entire nation and other nations. And TEOTWAWKI affects the entire world. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to put some stuff to you right now. Here's an example. An event happens. It could be any number of a dozen events, but one of the effects of it is it brings down the power grid. Okay, power grid's down, and it's going to be down for several months at least. In best conditions, nobody goes crazy. Everybody's cooperating, and they work to get it back up. It's going to be 4 months before they bring it back up. Of course, if it's down for 4 months, everything's gone to heck in the handbasket. You know, hey, Prepper 101. Homemade biscuits to make wheelberry. I got to put that one up there. Now, for the body armor, don't use her biscuits. Use Uncle Al's recipe for hardtack. That stuff will stop a 50 cal armor-piercing bullet dead in its tracks. All right, so what I'm talking about here is, all right, so the grid's gone down. What is the first thing that happens when the grid goes down, besides everybody freaking out and peeing their panties? Yes, I'm talking about you guys too, freaking out and peeing your panties. All right, well, first off, the gas pumps stop working. The power goes out in the house, and you got a limited amount of time to get some sort of power for your freezers and refrigerators and stuff to get them working, whether it's if you have a solar system, whether you just got generators and stuff. And this is where it bites a lot of preppers in the butt. Oh, I got a generator, I got 20 gallons of gasoline, or I got 150 gallons of gasoline. Well, heck, the grid's gone. How long is that gasoline going to last you? And Kaylin has it right. The water will stop flowing. CR. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? CR. No AC or heat if you're dependent upon it. And so, like I said, it could be any number of a dozen different things that cause events. And this one of the side effects of that event, the grid goes down. And like Prepper One says, if it's an EMP, it changes even more because all electronics and all stuff starts going as well too. Hey, it's Wide Family Farm. Hey, Corky. So if it goes down, so the grid's down. Well, one other thing that happens is oil refineries stop producing oil, gasoline, diesel fuel, and stuff, which means the shipping industry isn't going to have fuel to ship the stuff from its manufacturers to the store that needs it. Wait a minute, the store's not going to be operating because there's no power, so their credit card machines ain't going to be working, and they don't know how to do it old school, and so there's another problem there. And wait a minute, the manufacturing facilities not going to be manufacturing what you need. So what do you need to do? You need to learn how to make certain things for yourself. So I got a little, let's go back over here to this. Here we go. And so now some people like to say, yeah, I got a machine shop and I'm all set up. And I say, oh, how are you getting your power? And some are going to go, well, I got some generators and I got this, that, and the other. And then there are a few that are really set up. They can run their entire shop off of solar and wind. So they're good. But that's very, very, very few people. All right. So, so we're talking about you and me. Hey, or Bob, as everybody knows, Bob has a milling machine, a lathe, and some other stuff in his place too. So the thing is, though, no power. How are you going to make these work? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you right now. I'm just going to point stuff out here as we go along here. Solar panels, wind, hydroelectric generation, whatever it is. You need to have something off grid to generate power. It doesn't have to generate it full time. If you have, if you're able to go out and buy a bunch of the batteries and make your own little power station to run certain things, and you can charge them up quickly by running your whatever it is for a little bit of time, great. But to run most of the stuff here, you need electricity, unless you go really old school. We'll talk about that in just a second here. And here we start going old school. Woodworking. Do you see any power tools here? Everything here is hand powered. Okay, all right. That's it. You put the kids on the bicycle, put their Game Boy in front of them and say, you want to play your Game Boy? You got to pedal, boy. Kaylin, I know, and this is where I'm going to be addressing that in this. That's one of the topics, and if I start to forget it, remind me again. So, one thing to go, certain things you're going to need that you can make by hand. And for this stuff, the wood tools, if you're gardening and you break your hoe handle or your rake handle or your shovel handle, if you don't have woodworking tools, it's going to be hard to do them. But if you have woodworking tools, you can make yourself another handle. Heck, you can probably make yourself a stouter handle than what was on it from the store. All right, so this guy is one of my all-time heroes. For those who don't know, this is Roy Underhill. He had a show on PBS for 36 years called The Woodwright Shop. Everything he does in here, you look at all the tools, everything's hand powered here that you can see here. He had his lathe is a treadle lathe, hand powered or foot powered. And so the things he would make by hand, freaking amazing. All right. And since it's on PBS now with some of the Roku TVs and stuff, you can get PBS on there and you can watch all the replays. Yeah. And see here. So, but then, hey, what about metalworking? My dad was a blacksmith and a farrier, and then he became a machinist. And so a shop like this, my dad would be in seventh heaven with his shop. Now, one of the things you can't tell by looking at this. All right, so the wheel here is the wheel stone here is hand powered. This machine over here on the upper right there, that is a belt driven drill press. So it goes up to the top, and out of the top of the picture there, it goes up and it has a belt spindle on it, and it had a thing going out the shop to where they had a water wheel or something to power it. But yeah, I mean, this here, my dad would die to have, well, if he were still alive, he'd die to have that. That looks like a 200-pound anvil. But, so a shop like this, a blacksmith shop like this. Now, I'm not telling everybody you got to do everything. So hang on a second here. Something else here. Was that it? Okay, that was it. So back here, boom. Now I can take that down because I got some other stuff to show you guys as well. So the woodwright is not going to be working metal. He's not going to have all the metal tools and the lathes and stuff. He's not going to be doing blacksmithing. The blacksmithing is not going to be doing woodworking, and he's not going to be doing fine metal work. Back at the times of the Revolution, Paul Revere was a silversmith. He didn't work steel; he worked silver. There were others that worked copper. They were all metal or just for their different things. Hey, Glenn, how's it going? Glenn's here. That's How to Garden, and followed by Jay's in the house as well. Make sure I didn't miss anybody else up there. Just scrolling back up, making sure. Okay, so I'm going to be throwing the link up here in a minute here, but I want to show you guys something else here. Okay. Things that you can make parts with to repair things around the house. A Dremel is an amazing tool. It doesn't take much power. One solar panel and a battery, you charge it up because you're not going to be using the Dremel all the time unless that becomes your business, repairing stuff for everybody else. You charge up, you can run on a fully charged 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. You can run that Dremel for months because it takes hardly anything. And you get this, like the smallest, you get like the 100 amp 100-watt inverter. All right. So that's one thing. Something else now, if you think about, well, I was thinking, let me change up here for a second. I was thinking about maybe I want to do some woodworking. Well, when I was a kid in my about 12, 13 years old, my parents bought me a little wood lathe. And it had the lathe turn head, and it had a a scroll saw on the end. So change this up here. Boom. Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight used to be really good. I'm down at the bottom down here now. But they got two different types of wood lathes. This is a 5-speed, half horsepower bench lathe. And if you can see the motor's down below, and so technically you could hook that up, the power's out, take that off, and make it pedal power of a bicycle, whatever. And here is another one. This here is with a reversing head, and so it's a little bit more. But so if you want to start doing some woodworking, this might be something to start making certain things like hoe handles or chair legs or whatever else. They also have an assortment of anvils and good vices, and this is a 65-pound anvil. Got a 55-pound anvil and a 15-pound anvil. They got all these cool other things that you can use for making things. And what else I got here? I put in Harbor Freight metal lathe, and it came with not only Harbor Freight stuff, the Central Machinery one, came up with a bunch of different ones, different places you can get better ones at. And some of these, if you check them out, can be set up to run off of an alternative power source. Okay, hang on. What's this say? Not sure where hers came from, but Sheila Shell got a lathe. Thank you for mentioning her again. I guess I must have gotten unsubscribed from her, and I didn't even notice it because I was getting so many stuff. She does Fatwood Fridays and stuff. Yeah, I have to go back and get ready to do that. Now, yes and no. Okay. If it's an EMP that takes everything out, solar panels by themselves would not be affected. However, in the solar panel, there is a device. Dang it. Is Wayne in here? He knows what it is. It's basically not a resistor. Basically, it allows the voltage to go one way only. So it allows it to go from the panel down to your batteries and chargers and stuff, and keeps it from running backwards at night. Well, if you just remember to go out there, you disconnect it, you're fine. So, but solar generators, what it would take out on those would be the electronics of all the fancy, what's the word I'm looking for here? The inverter and all that other fancy electronic control stuff. But if EMPs is one of the things you're prepping for, you're going to have a inverter, and you're going to store one in an EMP bag put away. So afterwards, you can pull it out and you can do stuff. The battery should still be good. Of course, with some of the iron lithium phosphate batteries, they do have electronics in them to keep them from overcharging and stuff like that. But if you're working off of lead acid batteries, it's not going to affect them. Rectifier, yes. No, not rectifier, diode. Diode, that's it. It's a diode that keeps it from flowing backwards. The rectifier controls the voltage. I've heard that. I've also heard that some of the older ones from about 20 years ago and 30 years ago are actually pretty decent. And then they started sending crap steel over here. All right, so what else? Okay, and there's also milling machines and stuff. And if you look like at some of the milling machines and stuff, the motor's on top. If you can figure out a different way of putting power into it, you can do stuff there. All right, so I'm going to drop the link. Control C. And there's the link. And pin it. Okay, so the link is pinned now. So anybody wants to come up and talk about this up here and interact up here, yeah, come on up. Now, one of the things that what I want to get across on this is there are a lot of different manufacturing skills to learn. You don't have to learn all of them. Pick one that you like. My wife, when we got married, wanted to have a little craft shop, a little wood shop. So I got her a bandsaw, a big tabletop scroll saw, a disc, vertical disc, and vertical belt sander, routers, and a bunch of other stuff. And we made a bunch of stuff for a few years till we both got too busy at work. Yeah, got to do the balance test. Take a ball bearing and see if it bounces. If it just goes thud. Yeah. Trying to think that there's a channel I follow. Shoot, he's got his own machine shop. He does stuff, and he actually starts to he's making tools now and selling them because he wants stuff to be strong that he can not break it. Yeah, he goes test stuff like that. But on these different skills, whether it's woodworking, whatever it is to fix things, you're doing fine stuff. There's also a jeweler watch repair type skills because, hey, guess what? Electronic watches and stuff are going to be gone, and all the old wind-up spring pocket watches and wind-up wrist watches are going to be worth a mint, and anybody that can fix them is going to be able to provide for himself there. So learning to fix and repair things that go broke in the house is important. Now, if it's not an event that causes the power grid to go down, but it causes all sorts of problems to the transportation industry. Say something like something happens and all the oil wells dry up. No more fuel, no more trucks going, but the power grid is still working because, hey, they're using coal and hydro generators and solar panels and everything else. So we still got some electricity. So all your other tools work, but if there are certain things in the house that are breaking, how are you going to fix them? I'm not able to get to my Gmail. So think about developing a skill, whatever it is, to repair things. Now, small engine mechanics, even if there is, well, there's no gas or fuel, small engine mechanics can make a bundle in SHTF or TEOTWAWKI, converting them to run off of gasifiers. Now, a gasifier is an apparatus that you put wood chips in and stuff. You have a small fire, it heats it up, and it produces the vapors off of the wood that can burn and runs through a system. Because back in World War II and even World War I, a lot of the farmers, because there was such strict rationing on gasoline, made gasifiers to run their farm tractors so they could keep farming. Yes, exactly. Now I'm going to get to the other point that Kaylin brought up earlier about not everybody has room to do, for a shop, whatever else. So we talked about, small stuff. But sometimes if someone does have the big shop, they're going to get so busy they can't do everything. And if you can learn at the community college or whatever, or a trade school, how to do some of these skills, you can go to that person, here's my certificates and that, and you can become an apprentice with him and work at his place to get stuff done and make, food, money, whatever it is that's the current bargaining currency going around at the time is. But because you think about all the things they had back during the Revolutionary War, they were making rifle barrels, they were making and guns and stuff. They were making all that fine metal working and pewter working, silver, gold, copper. All that stuff was being made, not with industrial power. So there are a lot of options out there to fix and repair things that get broken. And I froze. So, one of the things that I'm putting out here to you guys is think about it. Don't just jump right in. Think about it, plan, see what's easiest, see what you might actually like doing. Go talk to a person that's doing that and find out if it's something that you actually want to do. There are a lot of things that I would like to do, but it's like, don't have time, don't do this. Now, my youngest son likes working with metal. He welds and stuff. He wants to get a machine shop and everything else. He also wants to get a forge going. So he has ideas on making certain things. And that's something else that can be, for making and repairing knives. Everybody has knives in their kitchen, but not everybody has a good knife sharpener. And some of the quote kitchen-friendly knife sharpeners wear knives out. And you see people are sharpening their knives all the time. All of a sudden, it's got a slight curve to it because they keep sharpening mainly in the middle. Don't do the full strokes and stuff, and they don't sharpen their knives right. And it's just, doesn't, they don't know how to do it. So having the skill of properly sharpen a knife and make their blades last longer, it's like, oh, knives are a priority. This person can fix my knife up right and make it, make it last longer. So think about what skills are going to be needed to fix different things. Now, like I said, so if the power does not go out, you still have power, but the transportation system takes a dump, which also means food's not coming to the grocery stores and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of problems and stuff. But if you're able to, besides having your own garden, you're able to repair the tools needed to garden, repair the tools needed to fix the food and prepare it, and anything else in the house that they made, clocks, watches, any of the things that would make life less, what's the word I'm looking for, rigorous, hard, just, I think you guys know where I'm going on this one, less cavemanish and more easy. People that can repair stuff are going to be in demand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fabricate trellises. Yes, of course, people are going to want to do vertical gardening if they're in suburban areas and stuff and they have small land that they can do. And so Yeah, if someone makes trellises and stuff, oh, I can do vertical gardening. I can get more out of my soil. But yeah, and yeah. So there are a lot of. I mean, if you think about all the things in your house that can get broken that will need repair if the power is still on. And how long does your toaster last? I know modern day toasters are not as easy to repair as the ones we had back in the 60s and 70s. Those things were monsters, and they worked. And when they did break, they were easy to fix. But there are going to be a lot of little things that people can't get parts for, and if you're able to make parts for whatever it is they need to get that going again, it's going to be it's going to be a source of a good income for you. Yeah. All right. I was hoping some other people come up here and we could talk out ideas face to face and get some other things going. If even in the city or there are streams and creeks and stuff. Most of your cities were built around streams and little rivers and stuff like that. So if you can figure out a way to harness water power to fix things, and run things, so even if the power does go out, you can still able to have the water wheel going and turning, even if it's just a small generator to provide some small power to charge up the batteries and stuff. Because generally, if you're working on something, even in a machine shop, that lathe is not running all the time. That milling machine is not running all the time. And so because you're changing pieces out and changing things around is, okay, to change that out, do things. So, if you have a way of generating power, or even if you have one that's direct drive, like the, dang, I wish did I save that picture? I'm going to take a look here at my things, the pictures here. See, where I had the old factory that had all the belt driven nuts. It was on the other computer. And old style factories and stuff from the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. There are ways you can find some of these old pieces of equipment sitting in junkyards and stuff where they haven't melted them down yet, that you can do stuff. Yeah, most of modern day stuff is meant to be disposable, but now they really don't care whether it's disposable or not, because they know if it breaks, no one's going to try to fix it. 2 rivers, 2 creeks cut through Des Moines, plus we got 2 lakes and a few large ponds. There in Martinez, there's the Alhambra Creek, and then there's the Mid Hill Creek, which is a really small creek. But it'd be easy to dam up the one side, because it does a good drop. If you dam up the one side and get a good fall on it, you could get a good, decent water wheel working on it. Yep, leather belts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get the wheel going, and once it's up to speed, it maintains against resistance of whatever it is you're working for. Like a lathe, you got it going, and it's got a big old heavy stone wheel, turning and going, keeping the momentum up, and you make your cut, and it starts to slow down a little bit. Then you go back and you get ready to do the next up, it's pick the speed back up again. So depending on what happens, it depends on what sort of skills you can use to make a living in the new SHTF TEOTWAWKI world, or whatever it is. Let's see here. I'm just looking for, going back over some of the comments here. All right. Guys, any other ideas on stuff? Things to do that would, things that you can do to repair things. What things can you repair? Oh, interesting side point here. All your LED lights have electronics in them. If the power being produced is not clean power, it'll, after a while, it'll fry the electronics. So your million-hour LED light suddenly dies at 50 hours. However, a good old incandescent light bulb works at all sorts of voltages, all sorts of hertzes, and are amazing. In fact, we took a bunch of 12-volt microphone batteries. They're like a, I have the same connection on it at the 9 volts too, but they have one on each end, and they're about the size of a C-cell battery, but they're 2.5 times as long. And I got a hold of a bunch of them that were, quote, dead. They weren't dead. They were like at 50% power, but they weren't, functioning to the full capacity needed for the microphones and stuff using on the stage and stuff. So I was getting all these, and we put about 10 of them together. So we had 100. So we had 120 volts of DC, and we put a regular household 100-watt light on it. We're all like, cool, it lights up. And they were playing around. We went and got a dimmer, put a dimmer on there. We could dim the light using DC power generated from bulbs. CF bulbs, the compact fluorescents, they got electronics in them. If there's something bad voltage or bad hertzes, like 60 cycles, and it's not 60 cycles, say it drops down to 50 or 45 cycles, they'll fry the electronics in the compact fluorescents as well. In fact, even the big fluorescents, with their ballast and everything else, can get screwed up by bad, what's called dirty electricity. Yep, you can repair plumbing and stuff. And there's a thing with that, is that if the electricity's down, water's not flowing anyways. However, if electricity is still going, and the water treatment plants, right, they'll function for a while till they stop getting their shipments of chemicals. But then they'll tell everybody, boil your water. The water's not clean. We're pumping out to you. I've never seen a halogen bulb with a circuit in it because it gets too hot. Because a true halogen, basically, it's a quartz halogen bulb, and so the glass part of it is quartz. It's got a gas in there. It's got the halogen gas, and it's got the tungsten filament, and all three react together to give you the bright, clean light. Old-time capacitors, watch out for the amps. Oh, yes, but the old TVs, with the big old cathode ray tube TVs and stuff, oh, those things would knock you on your butt. It's been unplugged for a month. Zap! All those things bite. But, old-fashioned light bulbs, if you can find them, it might be something to save, because even if it doesn't, the old-fashioned incandescents don't need to have clean electricity. They'll work on dirty electricity. You just won't have a nice, bright, clean light. So, and you may get a little more, someone would do the old original flicker type stuff, but yeah. Oh, sorry about that, Wendy. Then there are, CR just gave me an idea there. Then there are the junkyards that have, old microwaves and stuff, things that are malfunctioning. Microwaves and some of the old stuff if you know what you're doing, you can salvage parts from them to use it for other things. And like if you find some place that had, they had a bunch of the old TVs and stuff, and they haven't buried them, they just got them sitting off in the pile in the back of the junkyard or whatever. All those vacuum tubes and stuff. When a TV goes bad, it's not always everything going bad at once. Sometimes it's a specific thing, probably usually the main cathode ray tube or one of the other main tubes, and all the other little tubes are still working. Hang on, this looks interesting. Back in we had a jet engine that was from the 50s. That the thing had a capacitor on it to keep relighting the combustion can to keep the engine going. 500 amp rating. Oh man, that would knock you into next week and into maybe into the next world. Yeah, I would keep my distance from that thing too. I should have taken the bailout of the yeah, and thing is though, in the microwaves and stuff, it's got there's a lot of copper and stuff in there. So if the microwave's totally dead, salvage the copper. Learn how to salvage stuff. Exactly. The scrappers might know where that stuff's at, where it is, and what they can get their hands on. So you may be dealing with a scrapper to get you the parts you need, the materials you need to make the parts to fix other stuff. And that's one of the things, thinking about is if you're in a group or a community of people that are planning to work together, after SHTF and everything else, bring it up. If you guys actually have meetings and stuff, you bring it up and say, hey, somebody needs to learn woodworking. Somebody needs to learn how to repair this. Somebody needs to know how to repair watches. Somebody needs to know how to work metal. Somebody needs to know how to, make sure everybody learns a skill. Yeah, candle making. If the lights are out, candle makers are going to be big. And if you have a connection with someone who runs bees and stuff, I forget what they're called, and you can get beeswax to help make your candles and stuff. Of course, beeswax is also going to be people trying to get it for other municipal things and stuff, medicinal things. But yeah, learning how to make making candles, learning how to make matches and lighters, or how to make fuel for the Zippo lighters and stuff. Yeah, they're trying to do that here too, but there are still some of the big, the big spotlights and the floodlights and stuff, and the 100 watt, 250 watt, floodlights and stuff. You can still find those around, but those are kind of bright and use a lot of energy if we're in the house. But even the at Christmas time, you can still find the little C7 and C9 lights. They come out at Christmas time to, for replacement for the. So, and that's the thing, at estate sales and stuff like that, check around, because check for their Christmas stuff, because they may have a bunch of old Christmas lights that people are just going to throw away. Oh, these are all, energy suckers and stuff. I'll take them. I want those light bulbs. Yeah. Heat lamps, have to be incandescent because they got to produce the power and stuff. I mean, use the power to produce the heat. Yeah, metallurgy is something to learn. Well, my wife and I were going through our library there in California, and we said, no, we don't need this book. And I came across an old a book I had in high school on metallurgy. I go, Matthew, come look at this. No. I opened it up. Look, it shows you how to work all the metal. Then he pictures I look at it. He goes, yeah, I'll take this. And he wandered off looking at it. So I know we talked about it a lot. Oh, pump repair is another something. We're learning how to fix pumps and learning how to make pumps. If people are going to have to dig wells to get water, they're going to need a hand pump to pump that water out. So if you know how to make pumps and make the piston pumps and everything else, there's a skill there. I can make a bunch of them out of PVC, but PVC is not going to be around after a while. It's going to be getting harder and harder to find. So learning how to make it out of leather and copper or leather, brass, and stuff to make the valves and stuff, it's going to be a skill. Carbide lamps, yes. Most people don't know what carbide lamps are. The old miners with the burning lamp on the hood. Those were carbide lamps. Yeah, those would be the C9 bulbs. And the smaller Christmas lights, those are the C7s. They were the same size as the night lights you plug in. Also, put a wick into a half an orange. Yeah. And the thing is, though, you can also, if you learn to make good wicks and stuff out of the natural fibers and everything, you can make a lard or tallow candle. It basically, you have the right size wick. It may smoke a little bit, but you can produce a candle light there, and enough to see by. Actually, some of them get pretty bright if you do it right, and put a dome on it and have some way of adjusting and taking two cans that just fit inside one another and punch holes and stuff. You can create an air baffle there too, so you can get the right airflow to make candles brighter, especially if they run on tallow or lard, because it takes a bit of heat to get this going. And Rachel Knight is on her break at work. Hey, Rachel, how's it going? I'm not sure, but Ace Hardware used to be able to get the incandescents. Sometimes there's smaller stores and stuff will have a line on some of those things. Heck, I did not do this, but hey, guys, if you want to get some stock up on some incandescents, check Amazon, check eBay, see what you can find. And of course, as soon as you get them, you want to test them, make sure they actually work. So being able to repair stuff gives you a whole nother, in SHTF, gives you a whole nother advantage. Okay, something just jumped in my mind here. One of the ultimate SHTF movies starring Mel Gibson, and the one co-starring Tina Turner, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Remember Master Blaster? Master was the little short guy. He knew how to make methane from pig poop. A skill no one else had. So there's like I said, so think about all the different things that you could do and then figure out which ones you can do the best, or which one would produce the most income, whether it's food income, money income, whatever, for you and your family. And if you need and learn to do that skill, and teach other members in your family that skill too. Because if it's something that takes time and is really that will really be needed in an SHTF or TEOTWAWKI situation, it's something worth developing in yourself. Just checking comments here again. Yep, I did a video on that, only I put 5 candles in around it and then one in the middle. And the one in the middle, I got the biggest wick candle I could, because the smaller wick candles on the outside would heat up the pool a little bit, and they produce a little bit of light, but the one in the middle would produce a big light. What will I do with all those old C9 bulbs? Well, let's see. They run on AC and DC voltage. If you got a bicycle and you get a couple of those little generator things on them, on the things, or you hook one up to a small amperage generator, or you can even take a treadmill, DC treadmill motor, and turn it into a generator. It's really easy. Or you get what's called a single wire alternator. Chevy had a lot of those. You get one of the small ones, and you do the pulleys right. You can produce power, and with those little C9 bulbs, instead of having a 100 amp bulb, you got a little 7-watt bulb or 9-watt bulb, and you put those. You use the Christmas lights, and you have to put a light in every single one, but just hang it down the hallway. Now you have some light in the hallway and stuff to do things with. If you have a couple batteries, you can do the batteries in parallel and then in series, so you can have them set up to produce 120 volts DC, and you can run all your incandescent lights at full intensity. So there is a way, there are ways to use those old incandescent bulbs to produce light and stuff when all the other LED ones are all fried out because of bad or dirty electricity or an EMP or whatever reason why they went bad. CR pulls out his multimeter. Okay, let me test this stuff here. Well, thing is, though, we've run small, those small, C7s and C9s. We've run them on 24 volts. It's dim, but it's light. It's like a candle light, So, because the thing is, though, DC versus AC. 120 volts DC will knock you on your butt a whole lot more than AC will. So actually you can probably, like, if you're making DC, you could probably make it like 90 volts, and you'll get as much, lumens out of an incandescent bulb as you would out of 120 AC. Not everybody will want to dig a ditch to fill some sort of need. Yep. And if everybody needs a shovel to dig something, and you know how to make a shovel, you know how to make the metal head of the shovel, and your wife or brother or sister, whatever, knows how to make the handle, there you go. You have a way of producing the tools that people are going to need to garden with. And that's one of the things people forget about is, oh, I got some garden tools. How many hoes you got? One. How many shovels you got? Well, I got 2 round nose shovels, 1 square nose, and 1 trench shovel. What happens when the handle breaks on that trench shovel? Oh, I gotta go buy a new one, or you ask them what type of handle. Oh, I got one of those with a fiberglass handle. What happens when that fiberglass handle breaks, or gets left out by one of the kids for 3 months behind the shed there, and the sun has affected it, and it's shedding fiberglass fibers into your hand? That's when you need to know how to replace that fiberglass handle with a wooden handle. Oh, yes. Yeah. And especially if you make a little treadmill and you put the dog on it, have the dog walking, it's turning the belts and turning the fans and stuff. There was a restaurant, actually 2 different ones in California. Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor had fans on belt driven. Another one was called Carlos Murphy's. It was a Spanish Mexican food restaurant, and I had some Irish stuff in there too. And they had fans and had the belts running all the way around, and there was one motor in the corner that ran everything. If you can figure out a way of building and repairing fans, and learning to work bushings and bearings, because that's going to be a thing. Now, brass bushings and bearings wear out quicker, but they are a lot easier to make. Because when I was in high school, I actually rebuilt a starter. I did the bushings and bearings on it, and the for the brushes and everything else, and someone else redid the wiring on it and everything else, and we built a starter. We took an old one that was broken, fixed it up, made it work, and dropped it in a 1958 Chevy Nomad station wagon. Yeah, and if you can find, I hate the new vacuums. I hate them with a passion. We got a Bissell vacuum for this house when we bought it. One of those bagless ones. I hate friggin' bagless vacuums. Give me a good old-fashioned Kirby vacuum any day of the week. Yes, it weighs a ton. Yes, it's big, bulky and stuff, and it's dirty, empty, but it's no more dirty and empty than the new modern day bagless ones. You got to take the canister outside. You go over the trash can, you flip it open, it drops open, and a cloud of dust comes up. Hey, that's just like old-fashioned Kirby. You take it out there, you open the trap door. When it all doesn't drop at once, you work it out. And sometimes you got to take a coat hanger and pull all the stuff out. But I always had less dust emptying a Kirby than I do that modern one of ours. Plus, the Kirby didn't have a time where it was kicking dust back into the air. Yeah, very few people know how to properly work fiberglass. I learned how to work fiberglass and Bondo in auto shop in high school, but I'd rather not mess with it personally. I'd rather just take it, cut it off the head there, heat up the shovel in there and pull that rosin and stuff out of there and put a wooden handle in there. Well, the thing is, too, the bagless vacuums got all these different stages of. They got the cyclonic spinner in the main tank where everything has it, and coming out of it, they have another little spinner to get more it spins the air faster to get more particles out to the side, and then and another one, and then it goes up to a foam sponge filter, which most people don't even know is in there. And that thing starts to get clogged up and the particles start going through that. And then the part going from that down to the motor gets all this very, 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 very ultrafine dust particles collecting on it. And even down into the vacuum motor itself portion of it, where it actually produces the vacuum. And yeah, we found that out here when all of a sudden we were vacuuming, all of a sudden it goes a little cloud of dust, poof, comes out of the motor housing. It's like, what the heck? And found out that all these other lines were all caked with dust and stuff. So we had to disassemble the vacuum, clean everything, and get everything clean, washed out and everything, let it dry for a day, put it back together. Oh, it sucked 3 times as good, but to do that, it took us like 4 hours of cleaning time. Your hair breaks, Kirby vacuum belts. Out of left field. Out of left field. Learn to be a bower. Yes. Okay. I'm going to recommend a channel. Let me bring it up over here so I can show it to you. Make sure I get it right here. He makes bows, and I love watching it. It's like watching Roy Underhill and the other thing. This guy makes bows from scratch. C-L-A, Clay, H-A-Y-E-S, Clay Hayes, bow making. Yes. All right. Okay, this one, it was video from a couple days ago. It's Clay Hayes. This is this thing. So it's a tiger on one side, his face on another type on the side there. Can't patent, but not Grayman. But Clay Hayes is here in Idaho, and he makes bows all the time, and he shows how to hunt and stuff. And the craziest bows he ever made. That was a fantastic bow when he got done making it. So his link here. There it is. And there you see he does hand working making the bows. And he makes his arrows too. But yeah. Yeah. So he goes through all the stages. And he has a Patreon channel where he does more stuff on it, but he goes into more detail on Patreon, but he shows you everything on it here about making the bows and everything else. So, let's see here. Yeah, it's these, watching these guys make it is amazing. Okay, I'm just really catching up some of the comments there, but yeah. And CR wants to make something now. So, but yeah, there are several other channels out there showing how to make things. Yeah, start checking around and seeing what there is out there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let me get over here and bring up the schedule so I can see what's coming down the pike here. All right, so on Camp Patton Family Compound on Friday, Fighting Out in the Homestead is Fall is in Sight. Plan your fall garden now. Actually, because we have such a short season, I've already planted a bunch of stuff. And some of my Wando peas have started coming up. Let's see. Monday for Labor Day, may not go live. I may go live. Not sure what's going to go happen on Monday evening. Next Tactical Tuesday, I got to figure it out. The title I put in it was Survival Time 30 Hours a Day. I got to figure out what that was again and go back into my notes. But that's going to be something to do with time resource management for survival situations. All right. So, as always, everyone, remember, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Don't get yourself down in the dumps where you get depressed and don't want to do anything. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Most important of all, keep adding to your preps. Water, food, medicines, clothing, and like tonight, skills. Learn a skill. All right. Take care, and I'll see you. Almost forgot. I'm starting up Survival Saturday again. Haven't picked up any topics for it. There's just whatever's going on, and we'll be talking about it. So, and that'll be at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific on Saturdays. All right. Take care, and I will see you guys around.